Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. So today is actually review day for my Epiphone Custom Pro left-handed version, because I'm primarily a lefty, even though I can play right-handed guitar. I'm just far superior as a lefty. Anyways, so I picked this up for Gibson month this year at Long McQuaid, and it was the North Bay store. It's actually my closest Long McQuaid and favorite candy store. But anyway, so is their online website, because I'll go on there, find stuff, and then say, hey, you got this in stock? You know, if not, well then no, they'll order it in for me, so it's great. Anyways, but I got this one. I've been kind of attached to this model since I first seen it originally on Epiphone's website, and it's kind of been something that's like, well, you know. And then of course last year I bought the Gibson Les Paul Studio, and I've thrown a boatload of money into it to get it upgraded with the hardware and stuff that I wanted on it, which I couldn't buy that guitar that way unless of course you go through the custom shop. I probably could have gotten it, except maybe for the pickups. I could have got the same pickups, but just not with the gold covers. So that's one thing I can't change about it, but it actually looks good with the silver cover plates and the gold surrounds. But anyway, I thought, well, I want phase reversal. I've seen a lot of videos on this guitar with the phase reversal and how it works and how it allows you to get a boatload of extra tones that normally you'd probably never be able to achieve anyhow. And it makes it so much easier if you have the circuit built in. You just go flick and away you go. Now, when I was watching these videos too, the one thing that I picked up on is that nobody mentioned about the fact that this thing can actually use the phase reversal on the neck and the middle position, okay? And they just say just on the neck, right? And no access, of course, on the bridge, which I agree. You cannot use it on the bridge. Doesn't do anything. But in the middle position, you got the neck. So you can use it on neck and middle, just not on the bridge. It's too bad they didn't wire so you could use it on the bridge too, because that would be really cool. And it would open you up to even more tones, right? Which would be really awesome. However, it is what it is. It comes stock with all the gold hardware on it already. With the exception of the poker chip I put on. I ordered that in from, well, it came from All Parts via Long McQuaid. And these knobs I changed out because I didn't like the ones that came with it, and they sucked anyhow. So I got these ones actually from wish.com. They're the only ones I could find that had them, and at a good price too. So I didn't mind putting these on at all. And they work perfect, and they even went on so super tight, it's ridiculous, which is great. So I know they're going to stay. Still stays in tune with that kind of a bend on the G string. That's awesome. So tuning stability on this guitar is amazing, but it's only amazing if you dial in your guitar first. And so when I came time, I finally changed the strings on this. I couldn't re-intonate my G string. It wouldn't do it. It ran out of space. And part of that reason is because Epiphone had these three, okay, so your E, A, and D were flipped the correct way, but the G, B, and E, the saddles were the other way. So they need to all be facing the same direction. So if you look at the way the saddles are sitting for angle, I don't know how well you're going to see that, you'll see that, you know, basically the slope is going that way and of course sloping down. That's the direction that you need to set these things up on this guitar. So if you're a right-handed player, it'd be the same deal, except set up for a righty person. And you re-intonate, and you've got super stability in your tuning. I never even had to touch the neck on this, so you may or may not, you know, but I never had to, so I'm fine with that. But you get that intonation set up with some nice new strings, and these are D'Addario 946s. I think it was 942. 942 is what's on here. And these are, of course, uncoated strings. And I really like the D'Addarios for the electric. They seem to last virtually forever, whereas their acoustic strings don't last long, and I really don't like the sound out of the acoustic strings from D'Addario, but anyways, great guitar. I love the coil splitting pickups too. You know, you can split them and get that single coil sound going. Anyway, we can do this all day and have fun. Back rake on Epiphone guitars, if you know anything about them, far less of a back rake than what you'll find on Gibson guitars. So you're automatically going to get better tuning stability no matter what, right? And I found this even on the Epiphone SG that I had, which I actually crossed my mind of buying it back again, but no, it was not a good time for that. Because I also just ordered a new Sennheiser headset microphone kit, and of course I recently finally purchased the Katana Air to add in with my Katana 100 watt, and I'm actually playing on the Air right now. That's the amp that's actually going. I love this amp. It's actually pretty loud and really clean too, even at higher volumes, and it's really not even that high right now. However, that being said, you cannot use a string butler on this guitar. So even if you do get the guitar really well set up and there's something funky still going on with your tuning stability, because I really bent the snot out of that G string and it stayed in tune. You cannot use a string butler. It will not work because the headstock seems to be thicker on the Epiphone, at least on the Custom Pro, which is this one. So by the time you get the string butler on there, you don't have enough room. Like, you can just get the strings in on a couple of them, your tuners, but you're not going to have any wrap room, which is a big, huge issue. You need to be able to have the strings lock in place too. So even with doing the over-under wrap, which is how I've got it set up, you won't even be able to do that with string butler in place. So string butlers are definitely a no-go on this guitar. So that kind of, in a way, it kind of sucked, but then in the end result, after setting this thing up and dialing it in, it doesn't actually need a string butler. My studio needed a string butler. It's a real Gibson, and of course, more of a back rake, which means you got to try and do that much more to self-correct. And with the string butler on the Gibson Les Pauls, it's definitely got some massive stability, because I can bend the G string right up as high as I can possibly get it, and it'll still stay in tune, which is good, because that's what you want. You don't want to be able to bend a note and have it go wacko on you, because that would really make you suck as a player on stage, and you're not going to be able to sit there and go and retune, right, when you're just playing a song. So yeah, make sure that you've got your guitar set up first. But anyways, overall, I'm going to give this guitar a 4.5 out of 5. I mean, it's a great guitar. It was $900 Canadian for this guitar, which, it is Canadian dollars. US dollars are far less. So, hey, don't say anything about the prices, because there is a big, huge difference. But I think it was still fair, because that's actually half the price of what I paid for my studio. And even just out of the box, this thing has the feature of the phase reversal, which even the studio doesn't have. You have to spend actually more money on a Gibson, I think, to get that feature, because I think they do have it on the higher end Gibsons, but it comes as a stock thing with the Custom Shop or Custom Pro from Epiphone. So anyways, you know, to change some tuning pegs the way you want them, as far as going from kidney stones to the tulip, or whatever you want to call them, keystones, and then changing my knobs to something a little bit more appealing, flipping the 3 saddles, setting it up. I mean, there's nothing more for me to do to this guitar. I really love it. Just everything else the way it is. It all contrasts really well together. I think it's nice. I'm not a kind of person that likes to not have a pick guard, so I actually like to have the pick guard, and it completes the look of the Les Paul with the pick guard. Because it's, you know, even when my teacher was teaching me, he had a Les Paul Studio with the Sunburst, and of course he had the vintage style tuners, which I really don't like those, because they're like, you know, the ones with the plastic heads and all that. Didn't like those, but I really liked his guitar. It was really sick Gibson, and I always wanted a Les Paul one day, just not in that color. I'm kind of color pickier, but still, I own 2 Les Pauls. One's a real one and one's this one. The binding and all that on this is great too. I mean, as far as quality control, they did a great job on this thing, you know, with the exception of having to flip the saddles, of course. But otherwise, the fit, the finish, the fret work is amazing on this thing. So if you like blues, rock, heavy metal, hard rock, soft rock, you can even play country twang on this stuff if you're into that kind of music. You know, probably play bluegrass too without a problem. It becomes an all-round do-anything guitar when you add in phase reversal along with those split coils. But even the split coils alone make it an all-around guitar. That phase reversal just makes it so much more fun and better, and to be able to achieve tones you normally wouldn't be able to. So that's kind of really a huge thumbs up there for Epiphone. They did a wonderful job with this thing, you know. Even the string height or action height was just like spot on, nice and low the way I like it too, you know, so I didn't have to mess with any of that. So great guitar, I love it. Do check out Epiphone guitars, you know, don't be afraid of them. Even the Epiphone Standard, they've made a lot of good refinements to that guitar. My first Les Paul I ever bought myself was actually an Epiphone Les Paul Standard, and it was my worst nightmare. And so then I got one from Long McQuay to try out, and it actually reinitiated my interest into the Epiphone Les Paul line. Other than the fact that I saw this one on YouTube, and I was like, oh man, I really like that. That's so cool. I mean, it looks awesome. It plays awesome. Never really heard too much bad about it, you know. Yeah, even the Standard nowadays is a much better guitar than what it used to be. It's just that I wanted to go into this because I love the gold, I love the black, I love the binding, I love that phase reversal, which is really sick, you know. But yeah, I'll have this thing for the rest of my life, and you know. But anyways, so let me know what you guys think. You know, a lot of people have their opinions on Gibson versus Epiphones, and you know, Epiphones are half the money usually, and sometimes far less. And they seem to be a lot better guitar in many ways over a real Gibson. But real Gibsons also are very strong guitars. They're very good guitars. You know. And with any guitar, period, no matter who makes it, yeah, you can get a broken headstock on any guitar. It's not just the Gibsons. But the Gibsons do have a higher tendency than what an Epiphone would because of that back rake. The back rake is way too steep on the Les Paul. It always has been since the beginning. And it's always been a very weak spot on the Les Pauls. But if you take care of your guitar, and you know, you don't trip over it on stage or nobody else does, or you know, you have a party and you make sure you put it away somewhere safe, you know, your headstock is likely never going to break. Because I've heard stories from people that, you know, they've had their Les Paul since like 1950s or 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and they've never had a problem with the headstock. So, you know, I think a lot of this broken stuff that does happen is just pure out neglect, and there are times, yes, I will agree, they can come in right from shipping and come with a broken headstock right in the package when you open it. I've heard of that happening as well, and you know, that can happen. I don't think I've ever heard of an Epiphone yet coming in, you know, that somebody ordered online and it came with a broken headstock. But you know, honestly too, I gotta tell you guys, if you go to a music store and you play on a guitar and you find one that you really like, don't go home and order it online just to save a few bucks. Take the one that you just really liked, because the one that you get in is going to have some differences. It may also have flaws that the other one didn't have. And of course, no two guitars ever will be the same. They don't totally look the same, they don't feel the same, they don't play the same. They're not even in the same sound league together, you know. Whether it's an acoustic guitar or an electric makes no difference. Nothing that we do can ever be replicated twice to be exact and precise. Can't happen, doesn't happen. It's the universe, it's the laws of physics, it's the law of engineering, it's the way it is. So if you find something that you really get attached to, buy it at the store while you're there, because you will not see that guitar again being the same, you know. And I've even seen it myself. I played 2 or 3 models of the same exact guitar, apparently, same model, same make, same everything, and none of them played or sounded the same or felt the same. Even weights can be off by just enough that you may or may not notice, you know, and they usually almost always are off here and there. You could weigh each one of them and, you know, it'd be like, you know. So anyways, just some little extra advice for you guys. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to hear this thing on my channel, I do have I believe I have a bit of a demo with it. And I did do a shootout between this one and my studio. So that's all I got. Later.